Welcome to the History AI podcast, where the past comes alive with facts, anecdotes, and a dash of humor. Here are your hosts, Chuck and Marco.
Welcome to the History AI podcast, where we delve into the pivotal moments that have shaped our world. I'm Chuck, joined by Marco, and today, we have a special guest, CJ, a military historian with a deep understanding of World War II. How's it going, CJ?
I'm thrilled to be here, Chuck. Excited to unpack the Battle of Stalingrad with you guys.
It's a battle that's not just about military strategy, but human resilience and determination. So let's dive into it.
Let's wind the clocks back to 1942. World War II is at its zenith, reshaping the globe with each passing day. The Axis powers, led by Nazi Germany, are pushing their conquests far and wide, with their sights set on the vast expanses of the Soviet Union.
It's in this year that Adolf Hitler launches Operation Barbarossa, an ambitious and brutal invasion aiming to cripple the Soviet war effort and secure German supremacy in Eastern Europe. The operation marks the beginning of a campaign of unprecedented scale and ferocity.
Among the many targets of this massive offensive, one city stands out: Stalingrad. Situated on the banks of the Volga River, its strategic importance is matched only by its symbolic significance. Named after Joseph Stalin himself, the city is not just an industrial hub teeming with factories and workers, it's a symbol of Soviet strength and resilience, a prize that Hitler becomes obsessed with capturing.
The battle for Stalingrad isn't just a military operation, it's a declaration of intent from both sides. For the Germans, capturing the city would mean severing the Soviet Union's vital supply lines and gaining a propaganda victory that could demoralize the Soviet people.
But for the Soviets, the defense of Stalingrad becomes a cause célèbre. It's not just about protecting a city, it's about defending the very heart of the Soviet Union. Losing Stalingrad to the Nazis would be unthinkable, a blow to Soviet morale and a potential turning point in the war.
As the German armies advance, the people of Stalingrad prepare for the onslaught. What follows is not just a battle but a struggle for survival, a test of wills that stretches from the highest command to the ordinary soldiers and civilians caught in the crossfire.
This is the backdrop against which the Battle of Stalingrad unfolds. A confrontation of epic proportions, where strategy, courage, and the will to endure would all be put to the ultimate test. At the heart of the Stalingrad saga are the figures who led and the soldiers who fought. On the German side, Friedrich Paulus stands as a key figure. As the commander of the Sixth Army, Paulus was a tactician known for his adherence to protocol and detail, but perhaps less so for the adaptability required in the fluid and chaotic environment of urban combat.
Opposing him, the Soviet side was led by a cadre of determined commanders, but none more emblematic than Vasily Chuikov. Taking command of the 62nd Army, Chuikov was thrust into the limelight of Stalingrad's desperate defense. His leadership style was starkly different from Paulus's, gritty, no-nonsense, and brutally pragmatic. Chuikov advocated for close-quarters combat, forcing the Germans to fight for every inch of rubble, which negated their air and artillery advantages.
The contrast in leadership philosophies between Paulus and Chuikov reflects the broader strategic disparities between the German and Soviet forces. While Paulus relied heavily on orders from higher command, often waiting for instructions from Hitler himself, Chuikov empowered his officers to make critical decisions on the fly, fostering a sense of initiative and flexibility among the Soviet ranks.
The troops under these commanders faced unimaginable hardships. German soldiers, initially buoyed by the swift advances of the early war, found themselves bogged down in a nightmarish urban hellscape, far from home and ill-prepared for the brutal winter and guerrilla warfare tactics of their Soviet adversaries.
On the other side, Soviet soldiers and civilians alike were galvanized by a ferocious will to resist. Faced with the existential threat of annihilation, they fought with a desperation and courage that became the hallmark of the Soviet defense. Stories of extraordinary heroism emerged, like that of sniper Vasily Zaitsev, whose exploits became legendary, symbolizing the indomitable spirit of the defenders.
And let's not forget the role of the Soviet political officers and the pervasive influence of Stalinist propaganda. These elements worked in tandem to maintain morale among the troops, often through a combination of patriotic fervor and ruthless discipline. The threat of punishment for retreat or cowardice was real, adding a complex layer to the Soviet soldiers' motivations.
In the crucible of Stalingrad, leadership and the rank and file on both sides were tested as never before. The battle became not just a clash of armies, but a grueling test of human endurance, leadership acumen, and the sheer will to survive and triumph against the odds. To truly grasp the scale and intensity of the Battle of Stalingrad, let's dive into a timeline of events, tracing the ebb and flow of this monumental confrontation.
It all begins in the summer of 1942. July 17 marks the start of the German offensive towards Stalingrad, part of a broader strategy to secure the southern flank of the Eastern Front and capture the oil fields of the Caucasus.
The initial German advance is rapid, leveraging their superior mobility and air power. By August, the Sixth Army, under Paulus, reaches the outskirts of Stalingrad. The Luftwaffe begins a relentless bombing campaign, turning much of the city into rubble and claiming thousands of civilian lives.
As September rolls in, the battle transitions from large-scale maneuvers to brutal urban combat. The Germans make significant inroads into the city, capturing key districts. However, the Soviet defense stiffens, utilizing the ruins for cover and engaging in house-to-house fighting.
October is where we see the tide of battle begin to shift subtly. The Soviets, under Chuikov's command, managed to hold on to key positions, including the Mamayev-Kurgan Hill and the tractor factory district. Despite being pushed back to a narrow strip along the Volga River, they refused to break.
November 19 marks a turning point, the launch of Operation Uranus. The Soviets, having amassed a significant force on the flanks of the German Sixth Army, launch a massive counteroffensive. The aim is not just to relieve Stalingrad but to encircle the entire German force.
By November 23, the encirclement is complete. The German Sixth Army, now cut off from supply and reinforcement, finds itself trapped in the very city it sought to capture. Hitler orders Paulus to hold at all costs, promising a relief effort that never materializes.
December sees the situation for the encircled German troops grow increasingly desperate. Starvation, frostbite, and Soviet attacks whittle down their numbers. Despite this, Paulus does not surrender, holding out for a relief force.
The final act comes in January 1943. The Soviets launch Operation Ring, a concerted effort to crush the remaining German resistance in Stalingrad. By the end of the month, the situation is untenable for the Germans.
On February 2, 1943, Friedrich Paulus surrenders, marking the official end of the Battle of Stalingrad. It's a catastrophic defeat for Hitler's Germany, one that shifts the momentum of the war decisively in favor of the Allies.
The Battle of Stalingrad stands not just as a pivotal moment in World War II, but as a testament to the resilience, sacrifice, and determination of those who fought. Its legacy is a reminder of the cost of war and the indomitable spirit of those who resist oppression.
This timeline shows us the ebb and flow of battle, the strategies employed, and the human cost of one of history's most ferocious engagements. The Battle of Stalingrad is a chapter that will forever resonate in the annals of military and human history.
The Battle of Stalingrad was not just a clash of armies, it was a stage for countless acts of heroism and innovative tactics that have become the stuff of legend. Let's delve deeper into these stories and the strategies that define this brutal confrontation.
One of the most iconic figures to emerge from the ruins of Stalingrad was Vasily Zaitsev, a sniper whose prowess became a symbol of Soviet resistance. With over 200 confirmed kills, Zaitsev's story is a testament to individual skill and determination amidst the chaos of war. His duels with German snipers, including a major showdown with a reputed German sniper school head, brought a human face to the sniper's role in urban combat.
On the tactical front, the Soviets employed what came to be known as hugging tactics. Recognizing the lethal effectiveness of German air and artillery power, Soviet forces would engage in close-quarters combat, literally hugging the German lines. This approach nullified the Germans' ability to use their heavy weapons without risking their own troops, and it turned the battle into a series of brutal, small-scale engagements.
Another hero of the Soviet defense was Sergeant Yakov Pavlov and his platoon, who defended a 4-story building overlooking a strategic square in the city. Dubbed Pavlov's House, this stronghold became a fortress of resistance, repelling attacks by German infantry and tanks for over 2 months. Pavlov's House stood as a beacon of defiance, its story inspiring Soviet troops citywide.
The Germans, for their part, demonstrated tactical innovation with their use of combined arms assault teams, known as the Sturmtruppen. These units, equipped with flamethrowers, machine guns, and grenades, specialized in clearing buildings and bunkers. Their methodical approach to urban warfare, moving from house to house and room to room, showcased the adaptation to the unique challenges posed by Stalingrad's devastated landscape.
Amidst the strategic and tactical evolution, the battle also saw moments of extraordinary endurance and sacrifice. The story of the Soviet 13th Guards Rifle Division, which fought to the last man to defend the Red October factory, is a stark reminder of the human cost of the battle. These defenders, facing overwhelming odds, became symbols of the unwavering Soviet will to resist and protect their homeland.
The use of snipers, the defense of Pavlov's house, the close-quarters hugging tactics, and the relentless German assaults, all paint a picture of a battle that was as much about psychological warfare as it was about physical confrontation. Both sides knew that Stalingrad was more than a city, it was the heart of the struggle between two colossal forces.
These stories of heroism and the tactical ingenuity displayed by both sides underline the complexity of the Battle of Stalingrad. It was a conflict that tested the limits of human courage, strategic thinking, and the will to prevail against the odds.
As we remember these tales of valor and strategic mastery, it's crucial to recognize the profound human cost that accompanies such heroism. The legacy of Stalingrad is not only in its military significance but in the enduring spirit of those who fought and those who were caught in the crossfire of history's deadliest battle.
The Battle of Stalingrad, a conflict that stretched over several grueling months, reached its climax as the year turned from 1942 to 1943. The turning point of this epic struggle came with a strategic masterstroke from the Soviet side, fundamentally altering the course of the battle and indeed, the entire Second World War.
This strategic counteroffensive, named Operation Uranus, was launched on November 19, 1942. The Soviet plan, crafted in secrecy, aimed to hit the Axis forces where they least expected, on their flanks. The German Sixth Army, focused intently on the city itself, had left its flanks guarded by weaker Romanian, Hungarian, and Italian troops. The Soviet forces exploited this vulnerability with a massive, well-coordinated attack that achieved complete surprise.
Within days, the Soviet pincers met west of Stalingrad, encircling the German Sixth Army and trapping some 300,000 Axis soldiers in a tightening noose. The encirclement marked a dramatic shift in the battle's dynamics. The Germans, now isolated and undersupplied in the freezing Russian winter, faced starvation, disease, and constant Soviet attacks.
Despite the dire situation, Hitler ordered the encircled forces to hold out, promising a relief effort that would never come to fruition. The Luftwaffe's attempt to airdrop supplies was woefully insufficient, and the German troops' situation grew increasingly desperate. Meanwhile, the Soviet noose tightened, with the Red Army methodically reclaiming lost territory and closing in on the trapped German forces.
The endgame of the battle began in January 1943 with Operation Ring. The Soviet forces launched a final offensive to crush the remaining pockets of German resistance. The fighting was fierce, as the encircled German troops, now weakened by hunger and cold, fought for survival. But their situation was hopeless.
On January 31, General Paulus, the commander of the Sixth Army, was promoted to Field Marshal by Hitler, who expected him to commit suicide rather than surrender, following a traditional Prussian military code. However, the very next day, Paulus chose to surrender, marking the first time a German field marshal was taken prisoner. By February 2, 1943, the last of the German forces in Stalingrad surrendered, bringing the battle to a close.
The aftermath of Stalingrad was profound, with over 1 million people losing their lives. The German Sixth Army, once considered an elite force, was decimated, with over 90,000 taken prisoner, of whom only a few thousand would survive the war. The loss dealt a severe blow to German military prestige and morale and marked the beginning of the Soviet Union's ascendant phase, which would eventually see it push through Eastern Europe to Berlin.
On the home front, the victory at Stalingrad became a symbol of Soviet resilience and determination. It galvanized the Soviet people and military, boosting morale and providing a pivotal rallying point for the rest of the war. The battle's outcome also had significant implications for the Allied powers, signaling a clear shift in the war's momentum and contributing to the strategic decisions made at conferences such as Tehran and Yalta.
The Battle of Stalingrad stands as a testament to strategic brilliance, human endurance, and the catastrophic human cost of war. Its legacy is not only in the military tactics and strategies that were employed but also in the indomitable spirit of the soldiers and civilians who endured one of the most brutal sieges in history.
As we reflect on the Battle of Stalingrad, we're reminded of the complexities of war and the profound impact such conflicts have on the course of human history. The battle's aftermath reshaped the landscape of the Second World War and left a lasting mark on the world that can still be felt today. As we wrap up today's in-depth journey through the Battle of Stalingrad, we're reminded of the timeless lessons and enduring stories that history provides. This battle, with its strategic brilliance, heroic stands, and human resilience, offers insights that transcend the specific moment and time in which they occurred.
And that's something we strive for in every episode of the History AI podcast. Each story, each analysis, is crafted not just to recount events but to explore themes and lessons that remain relevant, informative, and inspiring, no matter when you listen.
History is a vast, ever-unfolding narrative, and our episodes are designed to be evergreen, providing value whether you're listening upon release or years down the line. We delve into the past to uncover stories that speak to the present and guide us toward the future.
So, if you're joining us for the first time or revisiting past episodes, know that each one is a piece of the larger mosaic of human history, crafted to stand the test of time. We encourage you to explore a library, where countless stories of courage, innovation, and determination await.
And as you journey through these stories with us, we invite you to share your thoughts, insights, and the lessons you've drawn from these historical explorations. Your engagement enriches the conversation and helps us all gain a deeper understanding of our shared past.
Don't forget, your support through ratings, subscriptions, and shares not only helps us reach more history enthusiasts like yourselves but also ensures that we can continue to produce content that enlightens, educates, and entertains.
Got a topic you're curious about or a piece of history you find fascinating? Let us know on social media. Your suggestions might just become the focus of a future episode, offering us all the opportunity to dive deep into another compelling chapter of history.
And remember, there's now History AI podcast merchandise available. Wearing our gear is a great way to support the show and show off your love for history. Find the link in the show notes. And as a thank you to our listeners, we're offering a 10% discount on your first purchase. Just use the code The History AI Podcast, all one word, at checkout.
Thank you for joining us on this and every journey into the past. Here's to many more explorations into the evergreen stories that shape our world. Until next time, keep the past alive and the lessons it teaches ever present.
Goodbye, and thank you for listening to the History AI podcast.
Looking for the perfect way to show appreciation for the incredible mom in your life? Discover Exhausted Moms, a coloring journey to relaxation and humor, the coloring book that speaks directly to the heart of motherhood. Gift her an escape into pages of laughter, empowerment, and moments of tranquility. With Exhausted Moms, she'll find a blend of whimsical illustrations and inspiring quotes that celebrate her daily triumphs and challenges. Crafted with love from images I created for the mother of my children, each page offers a space for creativity and relaxation, a reminder that she's doing an amazing job, even on the toughest days. Give the gift of laughter, peace, and recognition. Exhausted Moms isn't just a coloring book, it's a hug, a nod of understanding, and a token of appreciation for everything she does. Surprise her with Exhausted Moms today and watch her face light up with joy. Because every mom deserves a moment to herself, wrapped in the colors of love and support.